And we are live. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Joel Bayer, Stephen Howson, Rio Ferdinand. It's the 1st of January 2023. The
Yes,
Vibe with
ladies
Five
and
team
gentlemen, Joel
is
Bayer,
committed.
Stephen Howson,
Oh,
Rio.
can you hear that? I'm also in the YouTube background. It's all good. Guys, how's your New Year's? How did it go?
Steve, how's yours?
Quiet one. We did a live show in Dublin on Friday night, and I wasn't well enough to do it, to be honest. So it knocked me back a little bit. So it was an early night for me last night.
Oh, was it? I saw you look. You looked a bit like not dejected, but you didn't look your usual bubbly self, given that you were doing like a big live.
I was on my ass. When I got there, I was like, if it wasn't for the amount of people who've already tagged me that they're here, I'd have gone home. And I got started, and like Maka goes to us, look, if you can just do the first half and then get off at half time, do that. But I did the whole thing, but I was hanging on a little bit towards the end.
How long was the flight?
Only an hour.
Was you comfortable on the flight and stuff like that? Everything was cool there, yeah?
Yeah, it was fine. It was just the venue before we started the show was it's a tent, so it was cold. It wasn't heated. It was heated for the actual thing, but like doing the rehearsal and stuff, it wasn't heated, and it just absolutely took all my energy out of me. So I was suffering for it a little bit last night. But I don't really like going out New Year's anyway. Get your ass handed to you. It's never usually a good night.
That's true. Anyway, let's take it to the football. What's going on?
You know what's going on. Like, I don't even know why you asked. Everybody knows.
Let me just start this. Can I start this by saying, for any Arsenal fans that are on here that follow us, you guys, you're the real deal. I was saying it in the WhatsApp group last night. These guys, they're serious. They're a serious outfit now. When you look through the team, they look solid all the way through at the moment. I think the attacking prowess that you guys have got, Martinelli and Saka. Saka already put on Twitter, my young player of the year already. And you've got Nketiah who's come in. Jesus has left the void. We thought, can he come in? A lot of question marks about Nketiah. So far, so good. Xhaka, Partey in that midfield area. But Odegaard needs special mention. This guy, I said when he got given the armband, this guy either going to go one of two ways. Either he's going to be way too heavy on his shoulders or he's going to run with it. And this guy is running with it. He's playing like Mozart at the moment. He's rolling the ball through people's legs. He looks like a reincarnation of Ozil at his best. He's been like, I've been looking at him and thinking, wow, this kid, he's been a child star for a long time. And you can tell that he seems very comfortable in his skin. And I think now he's growing into the Arsenal captain's role really well. And they're in a period right now where they just look like they feel they can win a game anyhow, any which way that's needed. They went 1-0 down against West Ham last week, looked comfortable. Yesterday, start the game, 60-odd seconds in, bang, goal. Got pegged back a couple of times, but just looked comfortable. And so Arteta, Joel, your team, for me, they're a real deal now, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a Christmas present, when we go back into the studio, because that's possibly the nicest thing you've ever said directed to me or towards me. Honestly, like the respect I have. Forget your playing days, forget all the trophies, forget everything. That's probably I respect you now more than ever because I know that that's all we look for as fans. We want the respect. Forget the love, the respect.
Yeah, but you've got to earn the respect, and I think you guys are doing that right now.
Steve, your turn now.
All right, yeah, I've got big questions. I got to ask, if Manchester United had an absolute cyborg up front now and had 21 goals by New Year, would we be sitting not top? City are only 4 points ahead of us, despite having an absolute freak of nature up front that just can't not score goals. Questions need to be asked about Pep, I think. How's he letting Arsenal run away? How's he 7 points off Arsenal?
Steve, that's not what I was expecting. I was expecting some sort of praise, compliment. Remember when you said in September, by September it's going to go down, and then you said, October if you get through it.
That was a weird year with the World Cup, wasn't it?
Yeah. All right, listen, you can carry on holding. All I'm saying is on the 14th of January or the 15th, whatever it is, we're playing Man United. And look, Rio, are you covering that game by any chance?
I'm not sure, but I think Man United will do you.
At the Emirates?
Yeah, I think they'll go there and they'll do you.
Honestly, I
think... someone open a bag of crisps and scare us? Behave yourself.
No, it's actually the 22nd of January that we've got you guys, and yeah, for me, I can't wait. For me, that's revenge. That's probably going to be the biggest Arsenal Man United game that's happened in years.
Yeah, because you guys have never been near anything, winning anything, nor have Man United, so it's been a bit of a non-event.
It's true. But why are we here, people? We're here for a Q&A with the fans. We want to talk to you guys, answer your questions, and find out what you want to see from us in 2023. This is just a way of us giving back. Everyone's spending time with their families, enjoying, but we thought, let's give something back to the fans. So please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Steve, do you want to take the wheel from here?
Let me go pull up the questions.
Please do.
While I'm pulling up the questions, thoughts on yesterday's game, Rio?
United versus Wolves, yeah?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I was there. It was all right. I thought we had the best chances first half. I thought in the main belly of play in the first half, Wolves were good in between the two boxes. They were very good passing, keeping the ball and trying to probe. But Man United still probably had 3 or 4 chances in the first half. I was a bit miffed at half time why he brought Garnacho off. It ends up working in the end, but Garnacho was our biggest threat in the first half. 2 or 3 of the 4 or 5 chances came through him. He looked like the only one who's going to unlock anything. And the big story was Rashford wasn't playing because he turned up late to a meeting. I think the way that the club handled that whole situation couldn't have been handled any better. The manager showing again who's the boss. Discipline, culture, standards been set. If you're late, you don't play. He comes on. He doesn't have a soul cup, Marcus Rashford, be fair to him. He comes on, changes the game, and is the match winner. End of the game. Who's the embrace first? His manager. It's water off the duck's back, case closed. And the big thing, which is I think a lot of players should take note from, is Marcus came out, and credit to him, he came out after the manager came out and didn't say what it was for. He came out and said, listen, guys, I was late for a meeting. It's not right. I deserved whatever was coming to me. We move on now. And I think it was a real good indication of where the squad's at. There's a respect, there's an understanding, and now there's a real. It still seems like a unified approach that's building behind the scenes at Man United, which I'm pleased to see. Because we saw a lot of indiscipline in terms of just performance, people walking, people with intensity dropping off at times over the last couple of years. And we were saying that there ain't no consequences for this type of behaviour or this type of lack of work ethic at times. Now there is.
People walking off at half time during pre-season and stuff like that, going home. That as well. Yeah. Steve?
Yeah, in fact, there's some wicked questions here. Get your questions in. Rio, was you ever dropped for being late? Is one of them from Football Mandem.
I weren't late.
Really?
Never. Not even a traffic situation, nothing.
I don't remember being late. I don't remember if I was ever late, it would have been down to traffic, maybe like a crash on the road. Like there's nowhere that I've woken up late and just missed a meeting on. I don't remember that. Nothing stands out at all. Listen, it happens, man. This does happen, but me personally, no, I was always on time. I was always one of them who would be on to people who are late, kind of taking the mick out of people being late. Do you know what I mean?
Eben says, a word about Nunez and the chances he misses. Ooh.
You know what, though? You've got to be careful. You know, we have to be careful when we talk about people like this, yeah? Because do you remember Diego Forlan, who we saw at the World Cup? Diego Forlan couldn't hit a barn door at Old Trafford. Couldn't score. He scored against the Scousers, but he couldn't hit a barn door, right? Goes away. He wins a European Golden Boot, I think once, maybe twice, and becomes a great player for Uruguay and the various clubs he represented. I think Nunez has got something, and what I like about him is he's getting the chances. I'd be more concerned if he wasn't getting the chances. He's actually getting the chances. He's a young player. He's growing into his game. It's a new league. I think there's more to come from him.
You see, going back to Diego Forlan, right? In training, did you see the greatness of the flashes? Is it?
We knew you did in training. This is what I'd like to find out and speak to. I don't know, Virgil or Jordan or one of the Trent or someone who I speak to. I'd love to speak to them and just find out: is he a scorer in training? Is he clinical in training? Is he clean with his finishing in training, or is he not? Because Diego Forlan in training, his finishing off both feet was unreal. He done reps after reps after reps. He was like one of those crazy trainers, trained hard, always working at his craft. Now, if I flip it back to when I used to talk to Steven Gerrard and Jamie Carragher a little bit, I did it with England, and you'd ask them about people like Torres, and they'd hear them talking. Oh, in training, he ain't the best, but get to the match, the geezer just absolutely rifles it in. It's just like he's in a patch where he's scoring left, right, and centre. Being training, you'd never imagine him being that player, and I think Nunez could end up being like that.
I'll read out what we've got here. Stephen Horizon, massive shout out to you. Do you think that Erik ten Hag has been playing Shaw as a left-sided centre-back to prepare for City to play a free at the back and try and stop Haaland?
He may do, but I don't think that's the reason why. I think he made it very clear yesterday. I said on TV last night or yesterday daytime at lunchtime that if I was Harry Maguire, who's there, who's fit, back from a really good World Cup, I would be taking that personally and thinking, I'm not in this guy's plans at all. Just imagine, so I look at it like this. Just imagine the manager, as I came back from international duty at a World Cup and played really well, my stock's gone up a bit probably. And then I come back and the manager plays Patrice Evra left centre half and puts me on the bench and puts in a new young signing left back. No chance. I would be going nuts. I'll be in the office straight away going, what's going on? Either you fancy me, boss, or you don't. If you don't, let's work something out so I can go somewhere else. Because obviously you don't see me as part of your first 11. And I think it's been proven before the World Cup, the way the manager sees him. And after, it's even more proven to him where he sees him. Don't forget, you've got Martinez to come back into this team to slot in at left side of centre half. Do you know what I mean? So he's playing left back. Luke Shaw, who's probably smaller than Martinez, as a left side centre back against Diego Costa. What?
He's 6 foot.
Who?
Luke Shaw. Don't look it because he's got a wham of an arse, but he's 6 foot.
Bloody hell, I didn't realise he's 6 foot.
Way.
But he's small. He's small anyway. Listen, he's I don't think he's 6 foot.
Nasty. I'm sorry. Nah.
No, I don't think he is. But anyway, Google's correct on everything.
Gets it wrong
Perfect everything. But I just feel that you look at that and you just think that he's prepared for City. He said yesterday after, by the way, why he played him there. Yes, one of the reasons was because he was left foot and he gets out and he can get on the ball a bit more. And he's got the pace to cover Malacia, who was pushing up on their wide player to cover that space in behind. So he's saying basically Harry Maguire can do neither of those things as well as someone who plays left back.
I also think that it's a good idea to try him because we're not going to have Martinez for the Barcelona game. And I think having someone that you can trust like that to come in is a decent option for him. I don't necessarily agree that it's going to be for City because I think we'll play a back four against City. But I think it gives us that extra option. And actually, it's helping Shaw's defensive game because the one thing that he's a problem with is getting back into position after he's been high up the pitch attacking, whereas he's not going to do that at centre half. He's going to be in the right position. And when he's in the right position, he's a pretty good 1v1 defender.
I think he's a good player, if I'm honest with you. Kevin Conway, massive shout out to you. Rio, regarding Sir Alex Ferguson, do you remember the first time you thought, this man is next level? And it also says, keep up the great work, guys. Love the chemistry.
I think you always know that he's next level. You just see it. The trophies tell you it. I think when I got to United, it was more his man management was the thing that stood out to me. He never treated any players the same. Every player was treated very differently to the other. He knew what buttons to press with that guy over there compared to someone like me. He knew what button to press with him over there compared to that person over there. It was never one size fits all with him. And he just managed to extract the best out of all the players. And you look at Beck's, his best years are at Man United. Do you know what I mean? You look at a lot of players, Van Nistelrooy has gone elsewhere. His best years are at Man United because the common denominator is the manager. The way that he can extract the best out of players and the way that he makes players feel $1 million. And it gives them the confidence to go out there. I think one of the things that I liked when I thought to myself, I'm a Man United player. I'm elite. We're better than them in the next change room all the time. Because he used to say, "I've brought you here because you're good enough. Just go out and do what you do." Like he's very simple and plain stuff. It's not no mad geometry, no mad algebra business. It's very simple, short and sharp messages, but to gives you reinstills that belief. Like if you're having a sticky time, listen, why did I bring you here? Do what I saw when I brought you here. All that's changed is the shirt. That's it. Come on. It's like simple stuff. It was like, and you just walk, you breathe it in, and just think, yeah, man, I'm the man. So, but he couldn't do that too much of me because I'd have been thinking I was too much of the man, and things would have gone left for me.
And
Don Wozy there's got a super chat. Can you just highlight that for us, Joe?
Don Wozy. Let me go down to Don Wozy. Bear with me 2 seconds. I think. Oh, we've also got. Sorry, let's go to Michael Atwa first, and then I'll go to Don Wozy. Rio, Michael Attia says, thoughts on Sancho? Would he come back and redeem himself after the personal plan?
Thank you, Michael Attia. Sancho's an interesting one, man, because listen, but this is two ways you can look at it. You've had Sancho's obviously gone away and doing personal training somewhere. Don't know what's happened or what's behind all this. And you've got someone like Calvin Phillips has come back from England duty, and Pep just called him out and said, "My man's body is out of shape. He's not happy with not having it." I don't know what it is. Is it that he's not fit, or is it mental with Sancho? What are they seeing at Man United? And I think it'd be nice to get that clarity. Listen, Jadon Sancho, he's a South London boy, so I care about what happens to him. I want him to do well. But at the moment, he hasn't hit the ground running at Man United. For whatever reason that is, I don't know what it is. And Man United actually need him right now. They need another player. They need the depth on the bench isn't strong, isn't great, isn't strong enough at the moment. Sancho would add to that, but he needs to come back and be the Sancho that we saw at Dortmund, the Sancho that got people off their seats, the Sancho that went by people. Someone sent me something the other day, one of my friends, of his little cameo against, like a little cameo video of his performance against Barcelona at the Camp Nou, where he scored and he tore up the Barcelona team. That's the Sancho that I expected to see at Man United, coming into the theatre of jeans and going, you know what, this is my home. I'm going to own this place. We just haven't seen that yet, man. And it's actually grating on me as to why. I need to know why, man.
You know what's funny? Before we move on, don't you think it's hilarious how people see different managers? Because I remember when Jose Mourinho had said that Luke Shaw was overweight, everyone was throwing stones at him. Oh, whatever, how could you say that? Pep Guardiola says it. No one says a word. And I feel like the Calvin Phillips one isn't even really justified, if I'm honest with you. But
I think it's a good point, Joe. But you know what?
What?
It's unfortunate, but it's just the way the things are. When you're winning, yeah, and you're in a part of a successful vein of form, you get grace. And you can say certain things, and people have to fall in line like that because the culture at the club, the mood, the trajectory is all set. It's all stable like that. So just knocking someone off like that, they got to jump back on that train, or the train leaves them. Whereas when Mourinho's doing it, or people that aren't in that upper end of the table and success rate, it's very difficult to do that when you've got a destabilized culture already as it is, to be doing that as well. It's hard to do that, to create a culture that's going to be able to sustain them type of comments and keep people on the train, because there's a cancerous environment or probably already in that change room where people are looking for a way off that train already as it is. So it's a bit different. I understand what you're saying, but it's still a bit different.
That's actually a fair point, to be honest with you. Not often I agree with you, but I agree with you there. Steve, I think let's give Rio a break for a minute. This one's for you. Go on, give him a shout out and your comments.
Yeah, from Jeds, for the record, Stam is the best defender of the Premier League. I don't understand why Stam gets overlooked constantly in this. I saw something that was the best 10 central defenders of all time, and I was offended because Maldini was number one. Maldini's a left back. I know that he finished his career as a centre half, but Maldini was a left back, and he is the quintessential left back. The only person that can fuck with him is Roberto Carlos. Outside of that, that's it. He's a left back, and he's the greatest of all time. But the rest of the 10, it had some brilliant ones on there. Cannavaro's on there, Nesta's on there, Rio was on there. But Jaap Stam wasn't even mentioned on the list. And it's offensive to me.
I think it's longevity, Steve. I think that's all it's down to. I think I remember seeing Stam and thinking this guy's immense. And obviously, when he left, it was pretty random to say. And it's not to say that he didn't go on and achieve good things at AC Milan, but I don't know. I think at the time it's also got something to do with the Premier League was becoming the best league in the world. So it was very easy to turn around and look elsewhere. The Dutch team probably weren't doing an absolute madness at the time as well. So I think longevity has a lot to do with it. If you're looking at, yes,
Virgil van Dijk was in that list. You can't talk to me about longevity and have Virgil van Dijk in it.
Well, then I can't explain that. If I'm honest with you, I didn't see the list. I can't explain that. But I do.
There's only one man that's came to the Premier League, won a treble and 3 back-to-back, and then bounced. No one else has even come close to doing that.
I think it's the impact that Virgil has had on that Liverpool team as well, because I'm not saying Stam didn't have an impact on that Man United team. He clearly did, but you had other players that were, like top draw as well. But when you look
Stam
at
was a joke, man. Stam
was
unreal. I remember watching sometimes when I was even at work. Was that West Ham or Leeds or one or two? And I watched him, and he just used to play 1v1 on the halfway line all the time. That's the confidence the team had in him. Just go 1v1, leave him. He was like
He was so fast as well. He's 6'4", built like a bouncer, but unbelievably fast. And that's why he could play on the halfway line. Rio and Stam would have been an absolute piss take of a partnership.
Yeah.
No, that would have been nuts. That would have been nuts. He's the one defender in the history of the Premier League that if I had a wish to play with one, it would be Stam.
Really?
Yeah. Because I know that our styles would have blended so well. He wants to attack the ball. He's on the front foot all the time. I'm looking for mistakes behind or balls over hit or in behind and whatnot, sweeping up. And we both could do a bit of both. And it was just that would have been a mad partnership.
Man, going back to Virgil, because that's my guy right there. When he came into that Liverpool team, he completely changed him round, and I think that's why he's on that list. Correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, but that's what I think.
I agree, but a lot of people forget the importance of the goalkeeper. I think he's as important as a Virgil van Dijk. The keeper was
just because he had a traffic cone at centre half before him.
But the keeper was the problem before as well. This fella comes in, Alisson, and they don't look back. It's not just Virgil van Dijk signing. I think it's the pair of them.
Well, we're going to have to agree to disagree in that one. Rio, from Roberto Oliveira. Who are the top 5 biggest clubs in the world?
Man United, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Liverpool.
Man United, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Liverpool.
Where else are you going to go?
Yeah, and I was thinking
the only one I could even argue a case for is AC Milan, Juventus.
AC.
Yeah, in years gone by. If this was 10 years ago, maybe. Not right now.
Yeah, but then what are we saying about Man United then? If you're talking about 10 years ago, because you're not still ain't because you're practically AC Milan.
Joe, don't ruin this whole session for yourself, please.
Practically, I'm trying to see the difference that
we're cruising in on 19 years since you got your hands on the trophy, right?
No, because we're talking to Rio here, and he's the last successful generation of his. Since that time, he's gone to QPR, become a pundit, started doing vlogs. He's done the whole lot, and United still ain't won the league. So what's your point?
Just remember that our fan base is our fan base in one country is more than what your worldwide fan base is at Arsenal. So don't start talking, please.
You know we're one of the biggest teams. You know it, man.
We're one of the biggest teams in North London. That's it.
Nah, in Africa as well.
Top 3 North London, easily.
In Africa, we're huge. And in America as well, pretty big. I did the pre-season, I know. I've got the feel and the essence.
Numbers don't lie. We'll get the stats up. Anyway, move on.
Moving on. Hold on. Let me just read this out. Just wanted to say that Rio is he just wants us to read this out, innit? Greatest Premier League defender. Thank you for all the happy moments you gave me and millions of United fans when you played. Happy New Year to the whole team. And that's from Mohid.
Thank you, Mohid. Thank you. We appreciate that. I'll send you that £10 back. Don't worry about that. Thank you.
Oh, man. I'm looking for questions here. Bear with me 2 seconds.
Yvonne Gibbons, there's one. What was your feeling when Ronaldo missed the penalty in 2008 in Moscow?
Oh, mate, I swear down, I thought, no, like, that's it. And then I started thinking, that means I'm going to have to take a penalty, I think, maybe. Just keeps
How
going.
far down the list was you?
I was next after. When Anelka scores, I was next. My legs had gone. My arse had fell out. I was thinking, oh, my God. I swear. And I watched the penalties in the World Cup, yeah, and I'm thinking, these guys, no one knows that feeling, you know. You can't recreate that feeling. You can't go to someone, this is what it feels like.
Mhm.
It's impossible. That's why when people say, oh, I've trained how to take penalties. Yeah, I get that. But you can't train for the moment. You can't train for the feeling you get on that long walk. That long walk up there is one of the hardest walks, longest.
Must be so self-conscious on that walk, thinking, I bet you forget even how to walk properly. Just
You
like,
forget, should I carry the ball? Should I do kick-ups? Should I keep touching it on? Should I bounce the ball? Should I spin it? Well, you're thinking all mad stuff. Like, what do I do? Then you put it down. How many steps am I taking? Especially the ones that don't really take penalties much. I took 2 penalties in my career. I scored 1, missed 1. And bro, if I was taking, I reckon I'd have missed the next one. If it was in Moscow and I was up to take it and Nelka had scored that penalty, we'd have lost the Champions League final because of me. I remember Patrice Evra, the manager was in the huddle and went, right, who wants them? And before anyone said anything, Patrice went, I don't want one.
Yeah.
I don't want one. Not me, boss, not me. And I respect that. You know, at the time I was thinking, right, this guy's like weak, man. But when I look back now, I respect it because he's saying, just put me as far down the list as possible because I am not the guy. And you've got to be honest in this situation.
Yeah. I want to give, sorry, Steve, I want to give a shout out to Connor Lynn, not because he's done a super chat, but I just think his question is brilliant. He said, Happy New Year, Steve, Rio, and Joe L. Yeah, okay, I've seen what you've done there. Rio, who is your top 5 British players of all time? Don't forget George Best. And Joel and Steve, who would yours be too? We had a great debate close to this during our Vibe with 5 episodes whilst in Qatar, so I thought, let's go for it.
The thing is, George Best and Bobby Charlton and Kenny Dalglish and people like that, they're before our time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really want to put them in this conversation.
Agreed.
Let's talk about from the Premier League maybe era, shall we?
Agreed. Let's go.
Just before you move off Bobby Charlton, though, Bobby Charlton's career is a fairy tale.
Yeah.
You know, to come through, be a Busby Babe, survive Munich, 5 years later to be a part of the team that wins the FA Cup, retains the league, becomes a Ballon d'Or winner, becomes England's all-time leading goal scorer, Manchester United's all-time leading goal scorer, wins everything there is, including a World Cup and a European Cup in the game, and retires after 20 years at the top of Manchester United. Bobby Charlton should always be in someone's list for all of those above reasons. But I agree, like, we didn't see him play live.
I wouldn't know. I hear all of this from you, you know, Steve. I'll be 100% honest. I don't know enough about Sir Bobby, George Best. I've seen a couple of documentaries. So I actually gained my knowledge listening to you and you telling me, go watch this and go do that, you know. So, and that's just the truth.
My granddad, I'm lucky enough that my granddad was someone that was watching United from the Babes onwards.
Mm-hmm.
He actually did a video with Rio before I was working with Rio through BT. And he actually said, I think Rio asked him, like, what was Duncan Edwards really like? And he said, you're the closest player I've seen to him. So, you know, a ball playing, comfortable in possession sort of defender that was, you know, a bit of a specimen. And it's good to listen to people who've got that, you know, source material in their head that they saw him and they saw him. You know, there's no point listening to me on Bobby Charlton, but I'm getting it from someone who watched him live and direct. You know, and this is at a time when a lot of them games weren't even filmed, so you had to go and watch them. You know, you had to watch them in person.
So
difficult. There'll be a lot of people. There'll be John Charles Welsh. Everyone will be talking. He went to play in Juventus. He was at Leeds, like an absolute legend, an iconic footballer. But I think we look from the Premier League onwards, and I don't know. I think the names that jump out to me in no particular order would be Gareth Bale, Wayne Rooney, Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard. Ryan Giggs, Scholesy. Bex would be in with a shout, backing it up. But they're the names that jump out to me, to be fair.
I think listening to your list, you're right, Rio. But I think it's a tough one because as much as I love Steven Gerrard, you can't overlook those other English players who have actually just achieved more. So again, without it being in order, Gareth Bale, 100%. I was thinking about it the other day. Man's career is an absolute madness. Like he was mixing it in with those top Madrid players and Ronaldo's era. He weren't a bit part player either, coming on doing bits, absolute bits, and it's just unfathomable to think that sometimes we just think, oh, he's just a golf player. The guy was serious. He's serious. Was it how many Champions League? Is it 3 or 4?
I think it's 4. Mad numbers.
We're not going to deep this until these guys stop playing for a few years.
There's a comment there which sums it up, which is he only had 2 good years in England, but he had like 8 in Madrid.
Ridiculous. Maybe there was a few issues with the press here and there, but that's just Madrid for you. Wayne Rooney, come on, you know what I mean? I was watching the interview he did on, I think, Toffee TV with one of Ped's guys. I forgot who did the actual interview, but he sat there and just said how I think he said that he was surprised at how rubbish the players were in the first team.
He said he got in the first team and went, this lot of shit.
Well,
you know what? I think with Wayne Rooney, I think him and Paul Scholes were the 2 most natural footballers that I played with. Natural. They were just good from young. Scholesy, for instance, had 6 months off, I think it was, or 8 months off. Didn't kick a ball. Went and got some boots from down Sports Direct or somewhere like that. Got it delivered to him. Now, all the players, you have to remember, all the players get boots specially made for them. Boots, they get cast done, taken away to wherever, brought back, glove fit to your foot. He had some, can you get me a pair from Sports Direct? I'm a size 8. Just bring them in, puts them on. And after, I think it was 6 to 8 months out, not playing, not training, comes back in, first day back, the best player in training.
No way.
The best player in training. Hitting the ball with the rhythm and timing like he's not been away. And listen, you ask any professional footballer, when they go away for the summer and have their 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks off and they come back into training, they are not at it. They are miles off it physically and they're miles off it rhythm, balance, timing, passing, shooting, all off. It's all off. There's only a few of us that come back in. Yours truly, obviously. No, there's only a few. Wayne Rooney's another one. He was just like Wayne Rooney wasn't probably as natural in terms of that timing and passing straight on the money when you get back. But his knowledge and understanding of the game was so natural. It was so instinctive. He was just a natural footballer, knew where to be on the pitch. He knew how he was going to hurt teams. He knew where to play, where to pass, when to up the ante. He was just a ridiculously talented player, man. So they're my bunch anyway.
So what did you say to Paul Scholes when he came back that first training session and he's doing an absolute madness? Like, was you like, you got to come back?
The funny one was when he was training, he started training with the reserves and that as well. And just like he was coaching a little bit. That's what we thought. And then all of a sudden he turned up. We had a meeting in the derby. He came and I remember away at the Etihad, we was going, he was on the bus in the morning. So we go in the nighttime and we stay in the hotel. We get there, get on the bus in the morning at the Lowry Hotel. As I get on the bus, yes, Scholesy, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm just come to, how you doing, man? You're right. That was it. Didn't think anything of it. Get in a change room. He comes in the change room. The manager names the squad. He's on the bench. I'm sitting there going, Scholesy, what? We got to what? Any chance you telling us? But that was Scholesy, secret assassin, silent assassin. He wasn't fazed by it. He comes on. I think did we win that game, Steve?
Was it not 3-2? I remember, did Owen Hargreaves score?
I think he come on and I think he see the game out for us a little bit. I'm not sure.
Anyway, was Owen Hargreaves playing for City, maybe?
I don't know.
There was something to do with Owen Hargreaves in that game.
And I was just thinking, this guy, man, that no one else can do that. If someone has 6 to 8 months out, just says, listen, I'm going to just jack it in for a bit. The boss doesn't even give you a chance again, let alone play you. This geezer, the boss is probably tickling him and calling him every other week. I need you back. I need you back. And he comes back and plays loads of games. It's unbelievable.
Brilliant stuff.
There's a lot of questions, the more statements, I think, saying, get Vidic on the show? I know you've spoken to him. Do we have any sort of update on when we can likely do that?
Yeah, I have spoken to him. He will come on. It's just a matter of time, and I don't want to do it over a Zoom. It deserves to be face to face. So I've just got to wait my time for Vida when he's ready, man.
Is he in Milan still?
No, he's in Serbia. He lives in Serbia.
All right.
Steve, go back to your top 5 quickly before we move on to the next question. I want to hear.
Rooney is probably number 1. Scholes has to be in there. Beckham's in there. Rio's in there. The 5th spot, Shearer maybe.
Interesting. I like that. So no Gareth Bale for you?
Nah, I think he's had some career but it's not like anyone else in that hasn't. And I'd like to give a little shout out to Andy Cole because he never comes up on these lists. He took 1 penalty as a striker. Alan Shearer had 56. If you give Andy Cole Alan Shearer's penalties, I think he overtakes him, or he's very, very close to him, within a few goals of him, if that's been the case. Andy Cole never gets the recognition he deserves. His name sort of came up a little bit last week, and I loved that he got on Twitter and was like, stop disrespecting me by comparing me to Nunez. I love that he defended himself like that. I'd love to see him.
Is that what he was getting compared to?
Yeah, they were saying that.
There was a journalist said, Nunez reminds me of Andy Cole, needs like 1 in 5. I think it was Glenn Hoddle that said Andy Cole needs 1 in 5. And it sort of just stuck with him ever since. Andy Cole was a player. What a player. And actually, I think Andy Cole's got over 130 assists as well, which is an aspect of his game no one ever brings up.
Do you think he's better than York? Do you think
Coley for me was harder to play against than Yorkie because Yorkie played a little bit away, like a 10 a little bit.
Yeah.
Coley was
very different.
Player. Quick,
very different.
He was stronger than he looks, Coley.
Both of them. But if I was to pick out of the 2, I've gone through my period, but right now it's got to be Yorkie for me. Right now, has to be.
What?
Right now. Yeah. But what that guy was doing to us, and don't forget, I saw Andy Cole play a little bit later on in it. You guys probably saw it earlier.
It's only because Yorkie scored them 3 or 4 goals against you in their stepping off. They're stepping off play.
That day, I said, you know what? Yeah, we're done. We're finished.
All I'll say, for anyone who didn't watch Andy Cole, go and watch the goal he scored in the final game against Spurs in '99. Watch how he pulls the ball out of the air,
over the head,
takes one touch, and then puts it over. I think it's Walker. You ain't ever slept and done a goal like that. You haven't.
Madness. All right.
Let alone some of the link up that he had. Let alone it's one of my favourite ever goal celebrations where after we've scored against Barcelona at the new camp and he runs off towards the focus thing. Like Andy Cole is criminally underrated because for whatever reason England managers weren't having him, which is a tragedy. But you don't have the 90s without Andy Cole.
When you talk about the best strikers in the Premier League era, Andy Cole is top 5 easy.
Yes.
Easy.
There's a lot of people who are going to go, no.
Wait. Okay, so you got Henry, obviously. Aguero, Cole, Shearer.
Rude's in there. Don't even pull your face. Rude's in there.
No, of course, mate. Let me land. Let me land. But you got to fit
Van Nistelrooy and Rude, 100%.
Rude. Did we say Rooney already?
Rooney,
Shearer.
The
top.
Harry Kane will be in there too.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, Harry Kane.
Oh, I don't know about top 5 then. Coley's he's top 10 easy.
Yeah,
he could be top 5. He could be top 5, but he's top 10 easy.
I'd love to have him on the podcast, but I think he'd be such a difficult podcast interview.
Yeah,
I've interviewed him a couple of times, and he has missed a one-word answer. It's such a.
You know what it is? Coley's this guy when he's off the camera, and then when he's on the camera, I'm calling Coley out. We're going to get him on. We need to talk to him, but he's only coming on if I get the Coley that I chat to. Really? If it's not the Coley that I chat to and I know, I'm not having it. I want the real Coley to come on here and stand up and tell people.
There's a brilliant book Matt Dickinson's just done, 1999 season, and there's a whole chapter on Cole and Sheringham's fallout and how they used to sit either side of Dwight York, because Dwight York's obviously just this brilliant social conduit for everybody. And Andy Cole sits on one side of him and be like, right, can you tell Teddy that if he's going to start passing me the ball, I want it in the channel? And York would be like, Andy says, if you're going to pass him the ball, can you make sure you stick it in the channel? And Teddy will be like, tell Andy, I know where to pass him the ball. And he'll be like, right, Teddy says, like, because they didn't talk.
Coley was he had an arrogant vibe about him, Coley. Like, for people that didn't know him, because Coley was one of them, man, I ain't chatting to no one if I don't want to chat to them. I ain't chatting to nobody if I don't need to chat to them. I ain't your friend if you're not my friend. Like, he was one of them guys who was just really like, he was so confident in his own skin, and he weren't in that like pally business. It was just like, listen, this is who I am, this is what I am, and I know I'm good. And it weren't until you got to know him that he's a nice cook. He used to live near me, so I used to move with him sometimes and go around his house at times and whatnot. And he was a much more calm and humble and quiet guy. He was just sometimes people take quietness as well for arrogance or ignorance, and it's not. And that's a little bit how he was tainted a little bit. But what a guy, what a player, but more importantly, what a guy.
Brilliant insight. Honestly, I love him, and even the character that you say there, like, I love it. It's like a villain, but yet still he does the business when it comes to it. So I love Coley, man. Steve, you got any more questions you want to pick out?
Yeah, Eben says, give us your assessment of Ten Hag till now, Rio.
I think he's had a tough job. I've got to be honest. The whole Ronaldo situation, that scenario was very tough. I think he's come out of it in the end in the better shape than even Cristiano. And what he has done is he sent a message to the rest of the squad that in time, I hope, then creates the culture and the environment to be successful. And he's then reinstilling that with what he's done with Rashford at the weekend, really pinning down the culture. And there's a certain standard that they've all got to adhere to. And if you fall below that, you're going to get punished. He's trying to implement a style of football. I said yesterday, that Wolves game, a couple of seasons ago, we dropped points there. 100%, we dropped points. Your main man doesn't start. He's on the bench. The story just unfolds, and you're just waiting for the newspaper on the Sunday to be headlines. Oh, it's all going to put at Man United. It's going, it's off. They managed to navigate their way through that game. It wasn't a textbook, really good performance. It was a decent performance, a good away win, without any frills and spills, really. But I think right now, with what he's had to deal with, I'd give him a solid 7.5.
7.5. That's pretty decent, to be fair.
We're fourth in the league, Champions League position at the moment.
No, that's really good, especially if someone hasn't won anything yet. I think that's pretty good. 7.5. Someone here wants me to quickly apologize for apparently disrespecting the Saudi league or something like that, saying that I could play in it. And to be honest with you, I refuse to apologize because if I was 10 years younger, I could definitely play in that league. No questions asked. Steve, how long we got left?
Depends how long you want to go for.
Rio. 10 minutes. Come on, let's go. 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Before we go on, I don't want to forget this. So we haven't had the chance to do this as a group. Rio, I saw this on your socials, but we want to say RIP to Pele. Probably, I never saw him play, but one thing I can say is that he is the most influential footballer of all time. That's a fact, regardless of what anyone thinks. Before him, the number 10 was just a number.
Has any player transcended the sport as much as he did in a career?
No, because he was the pinnacle. Do you see what I mean?
Like, he's done movies,
he's
done fashion. The geezer even made Viagra cool, right? He's won 3 World Cups. The geezer's been in music videos over the years. The guy is the most he's done a lot before anyone else. I saw a video the other day. He was doing Cruyff before Cruyff. He done the Ronaldo chop before Ronaldo. He did the dummy he done against Uruguay. No one's ever seen anything like it. Like, things he was doing before anyone else. He's just
Pele did it first. Yeah. And on top of that, he stayed relevant as well with the younger players. I remember when I met him, I had the chance to meet him when I met you actually at the Hublot event. And as big of the stars that were there, yourself, Bebe, Inzaghi, so many top players at that event.
Roberto Carlos, Diego Maradona, all of them were there.
But him and Maradona still took center stage. That's mad.
There's only two players that have made me fanboyish, and it was Maradona and Pele. I became fanboy. Please get me a selfie. Someone asked them to get me a selfie before I even asked the first time. Do you think it's okay if I get a selfie?
Wow.
That's how I was. That's how them two players make you feel. It's just Pele was just phenomenal. It was just a guy that every generation will know about and will respect.
R.I.P. Pele, man. Thank you very much. Steve, any more questions you're picking out?
No, I mean, we could get into all sorts. So I'd just like to just echo what you both are saying. I think Pele suffers in his reputation in Europe a little bit because of the way Santos sort of pimped him out for friendlies. I think if he was afforded the same opportunities to come and play football in Europe, we'd have seen truly how good of a footballer he was. But for whatever the Santos sort of factor was with him, it robbed us of the opportunity to see how he would have done playing in Europe properly. Because I think even though the friendlies that he played in was seen as a little bit more of like an international friendly rather than like a pre-season friendly, they were still technically like uncompetitive games that were done midweek, and it was a money-making exercise that Santos used to sort of grow their brand and keep hold of Pele. And it was a weird quirk of what the sport was like, I guess, in the 60s. It was almost like a Harlem Globetrotter thing. They would be playing him 3-4 times a week just to go sell out a ground in Sheffield, then bring him over to Manchester, then take him to Birmingham. Like they was doing stuff like that to play against like representative 11s, and they play against Sheffield Wednesday on a Tuesday, and then like Aston Villa on a Thursday. It was a weird time, I guess. That was how they marketed a world superstar of the time. Like, could you imagine, Paris Saint-Germain are coming to play Rangers on a Tuesday now just to sell a bit of tickets in Scotland, and then they're going to Ajax to play on Thursday. Like,
there's other ways to earn money now. That's why, isn't it? There's more other ways to earn money.
I heard they're burying him as well underneath the Santos Stadium, aren't they?
Are they?
Special. Yeah, wow. That's special, to be fair, man. That means a lot. I want to move it on. I like this question. I don't know if you can see this, Rio, but Roberto Oliveira, again, you managed to get a second shout out here, but it's a great question. Bellingham to Liverpool or Fernandes to Chelsea? What's the better signing if it happens?
Both top. I mean, Fernandes was my player of the tournament for Argentina. I thought he was so composed, and his team won the World Cup, and he was an integral member of that team. But I would have to lean on the side of Bellingham. I just think he's all action. He affects the game. Whether he plays deep, whether he plays as an 8, or whether he plays almost as an 8 going into a 10, this kid will affect football matches. And he's just his whole demeanour. I don't know Fernandes well enough, and that's probably another reason why I'm leaning to Bellingham. I know more about him, and just Bellingham, just in terms of driving culture, the right type, the right profile for this league. I think he'd be my hands down stand-up signing in that sense.
Let's talk Ronaldo, since though I've not had a chance to chat to you about Cristiano. Cristiano's confirmed his move to Saudi Arabia 1 month after doing an interview with Piers Morgan where he said if it was all about the money, he'd have gone and played in Saudi Arabia. What about that then?
I said this. We had a talk the other day with Joel. I think he was saying that because at that point he hadn't made it public that he was going to be available for other teams, right? And I think that he thought there were going to be more teams interested in taking him. Now, until he says differently, I think that he went to market and either the right club and the right deal wasn't on the table, just wasn't there. And then a deal like that from Saudi comes along and he says, you know what, can't turn that down. It's too good to be true. I'm not getting what I want over here. There's not a club in the Champions League or a club paying me enough money over here or doing both. But there's a club here willing to change not only my life, but probably 2 or 3 or 4 generations in my family's life. And there's a chance to create some sort of new legacy in Saudi Arabia with a new generation in the Middle East. I'm going to go for that one over there. And by the way, I've done enough to earn the right to go and do that over there. And that's what I think he's thought. And I think, listen, people are going to hang him by his words of what he said over there. But the landscape, the picture does change. At that time, he genuinely might have been saying that. Going, I'm going to go and play Champions League, because that's what he genuinely probably thought. But then the picture changes And there was options that he was expecting to be there, may not have been there. So therefore, he goes to where he's gone to now. I don't know. That's the way it looks to me.
I don't think there was offers there. I don't think the offers were there in the summer, which is why he didn't move anywhere in the summer. Outside, I mean, we heard about an offer from Saudi. I'm not sure if it was Al Nassr in the summer that came in, but there was an offer from Saudi supposedly in the summer. And then that's seemingly the offer that's come back for him in January.
But Steve, I don't go along with this. Oh, we're sad. I said this to Joel the other day. Oh, I'm sad the way it's ending for him and blah, blah. Mate, Mike Tyson couldn't have had a worse ending to his career. The geezer lands in England and the place is a standstill. The geezer lands anywhere in the world. Oh, my God, Mike Tyson, only Muhammad Ali's greater than him. Some people say Mike Tyson's the best. This is the guy that... This is a blip. This is a moment. This is a moment for Cristiano. People think this is going to affect his legacy. No chance. There's players, there's other sportsmen that have done crazy shit in their life and ended on crazy, crazy notes that are held up in the highest of esteems, highest iconic levels, legendary levels. So please I don't want to hear this sad story, because I'm telling you, Cristiano is not sitting there sad right now.
With 200 million a year, I believe you, to be honest with you. I do believe you. It's not a bad offer. Any other questions?
There's more to it though, Joe. It's not just about the money. That's what I think people are missing. People are missing. It's not just about the money.
No, we're not doing this one.
No.
I'm not having
and I'm
that.
going to get into this a bit more, yeah. But there's more to it than just money. I'm telling you, there's a new way to look at this for him. A family, an adventure, a new culture. There's too much to be gained from going there, other than just money as well. I'm telling you.
Maybe it's me that sits outside the 200 million pounds a year box here, and if it is, fine, I accept that, innit? At the current moment, that is, until I get there.
Cynical.
But I'm sorry, you can't tell me that. I think money is definitely the biggest incentive. Maybe there's a 1% chance, whatever the percentage is, that it's about culture. But trust me, the majority of what he's thinking about is that money in the bank. And I would be too. There's no problem. It's fine. He's a human being. He's setting up his kids for a long time. And he's not a bad man for doing that at all. Steve?
Like I said, I just don't think the offers was there. And basically, the interview was the worst advised thing that's ever happened in his career.
That's the thing, Steve, that I agree with, that he's probably sitting there, his people and him are probably sitting there thinking that's what's killed him, is the interview.
Yeah, I think if he doesn't do the interview, he's been strung up by his own words, things that, he made out that it was all about the footballing culture at United wasn't right. I think there'd be a lot of people that can largely agree with that. He talked about wanting to be in the Champions League. Everybody at Manchester United wants to be back in the Champions League, but then you go and sign for a team in Saudi Arabia that is not in the European Champions League. I can't imagine they've got a footballing culture comparable to Manchester United's in the training ground. It almost makes a mockery of everything that he came out and said. And I think that's the problem, is it was obvious Ten Hag wasn't having him. It was blatant.
Why is that a mockery? I don't understand why it's a mockery of what he said. I think it's more that I think the landscape has just changed. Like, I wanted to play Champions League. By the way, this guy's 37, 38 now. So sometimes your body then goes, you know what, actually, I've had a realization that I can't do this no more, maybe. I don't know. It could have been a number of things, but I don't think it... I don't
think he's reached that point yet. I think you could sort of see that from him in the World Cup. I think he still thinks he is at the highest level. I think that was why he kicked off so much about not playing at United. He didn't take it gracefully at United. He could have done. He could have just stuck around and played a bit part. I think I said at the start of the season, keep him around playing once a week. He's never going to be able to play twice a week for us. I think he could have, if he'd have played just that once a week, he might have still got a performance out of him. But was his ego allowing him to do that?
The interview you want, which we want, is in a year or two, when he's just chilled, when he's had a bit of reflection time, when he can look back now with hindsight and goes, you know what, that's the interview you want to get and talk about and find out where he was at in these moments with a bit of reflection. So, Cristiano, we'll see you here soon, bro.
We'll see. Hopefully so. Hopefully so. All right, cool. So forget the Q&As for a minute. Let's look at Man United's next fixture. And the only reason why we're looking at United is because we're on the Man United topic. Man United versus Bournemouth coming up. It seems like an easy game, really, isn't it? They haven't been in great form. Man United are flying at the moment. Is it one of those games where you just expect to straight?
Sorry. Brock McFadgen, bring back the dreads, Rio. Them days are gone, man. Bro. Listen, that's 3 points. Let's move on. That's 3 points to us now.
3 points, yeah. No worry whatsoever. And yeah, Steve, final thoughts on Arsenal?
You've done well better than I thought you would have done. But you better believe when this goes west, I am going to be on you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just know that.
Bring it on, big man.
There's no way that City can balls it up this much in the second half of the season with that cyborg up front.
5 months.
If you look don't win the league now, was it a bad season for you?
No, because
7 points clear.
No, Steve. I'm not going to let you bait me into that one, because at the start of the season, if you had told me that we were getting top 4, I would have bit your hand for it. Really, I really would have. So as far as I'm concerned, with how young our squad is, you know, going back from where I was last season and I was screaming Arteta out on documentaries and that, I think this year, if we get top 4 and there's that Champions League music playing in the background, you can play with your toys, guys. That's all I need. Give me Champions League football. And I'll be happy, you know, and a couple of new signings as well.
I don't want to see no tears drying your eyes like this.
No. We're definitely getting top 4. Top 4 is a must. And I know you guys know it too.
If you don't, oh my God, because it's going to be tight.
Give me any bet, bro. If we don't get top 4, and I will do it this year, any bet, I'm saying it live, clip it up. I don't care what you do. If we don't get top 4, Steve, let me know what you want me to do.
Listen,
the thing is, if I thought we had a chance at getting above yours, I'd have it, but I don't think we're going to get above you. It's going to be hard enough just staying in the top 4. I don't think we're going to get a striker, and if we do get one, it's going to just be a temporary one. So I don't know.
The ones we go for, we get pipped anyway. Gakpo's
Here's what I don't understand. So we were definitely in for Gakpo like a week ago. Definitely. We were definitely in for him. And even though he wasn't a lot of money, 30 odd million or something like that, 37 million. As soon as we get pied by him, we now have no money. That doesn't make sense to me.
No money on the player that you want, Steve. There's a difference. No one has money on someone that they don't think is worth it.
I just don't think there's anyone in the marketplace right now who comes we can get or is available. Like or
you want.
It's not happening. Like, okay, give me a number 9 in football right now. You go, I'd take him and I'd pay exactly what they want for him. Who?
Ivan Toney.
Yeah.
I think he's got the problems with the betting thing hanging over him.
There's an issue there. Go on.
Nah, that's it.
I'll wait.
I think
mate, I'd go with Mitrovic, but I think he's just on a new deal, and I don't think he'd do it. You might be able to get Vlahovic with the problems that's going on at Juventus, but I don't expect that to be easy.
Good, really. Like, we saw what he was doing before Juve, but again, you put him on a platform for him to perform, and I ain't seen.
They're all lift buts and maybes. I'm not sure. Everything's like that. Anyway, listen, lads, it's been great seeing you. Happy New Year. Onwards and upwards from this point. There's going to be more stuff coming. We've got more content coming. If the World Cup was anything to go by, guys, this year's going to be a madness. There's loads of new stuff coming. Stay tuned. Keep subscribing. Keep making sure you tell a friend we're here and what we're doing, man, because we love it. We love feeding you guys the best content that you can get. An ex-player, these guys, they know their stuff. They're fans. They relate to you guys as well. So we'll keep coming with more and more new stuff. Stay tuned.
Happy New Year. Subscribe. Peace. Oh, come on, you Arsenal.